This week, incendiary balloons that were launched from Gaza into Israel threatened to end a fragile ceasefire after nearly 2 weeks of violent clashes.
A group of 18 rabbis from South Florida on a friendship mission there experienced more than they were expecting. Rabbi Andrew Jacobs of Plantation's Ramat Shalom Synagogue was documenting it all real time almost on social media. He is back in the time zone and with us live today. Hi, Rabbi.
Hey, Rabbi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit more rested than the last time we spoke.
Where you were there 7 hours ahead. You know, this we have a short time together today,
Right.
But when we talked, one of the things that I was really struck by, and I think other people who are hearing from all the rabbis who were there, is you were on a friendship mission. One of your first trips was to the Gaza border, and you met in a school with Palestinian Israelis and Israelis from all, I mean, it's such a diverse community there. What don't we see in the United States in the headlines that are typically us versus them or him versus her? What don't we see?
But what we don't see, what we don't hear is that there are many Israelis. And when I say Israelis, I mean Jews, I mean Arabs, I mean Palestinians, I mean Christians, etc., who are not sharing stories of hate, not sharing stories of anger or resentment, but sharing that they want to learn to build society together. There are so many of the stories that we come back with that highlight that. And it's unfortunate that we don't hear more of those stories, because I think those are the stories that need to be heard and then fostered by the world, because that is what's going to make a difference on the ground in Israel.
Yeah. Rabbi Jacobs, I think on your second day, I know this because my rabbi, Jonathan Birkin, was on the trip with you from Aventura, that you went to the city of Lod, where in fact Israel, Jews, Arabs, Christians, everybody had essentially had some kind of peaceful coexistence. But when this fighting broke out, I mean, the civil society sort of ruptured in Lod. So what did you find there?
So Lod was pretty, it was a very intense and emotional experience. We visited with one of the rabbis in Lod, whose synagogue was actually burned, and many of his community members faced an attack. And we also visited with Principal Shireen Hafi, who's the principal. She is a Palestinian Israeli. She's the principal of the Arab school there. And what we learned from the principal was that she is committed to rebuilding the city of Lod as with her Jewish neighbors. She spoke with us and a few of her students and said that there's no room for anything but love, that if we love each other, we're not going to commit this type of violence. The rabbi that we met with was also, right after the riots in Lod, he went to the Hinam Center, which is a social tolerance center in Israel, and he met with Muslim leaders trying to figure out how the Jewish community there can move forward. Again, these messages of moving forward, as we say in Hebrew, bayachad, hand in hand together, they don't make it onto the news. The violence makes it there. And to see that both sides are committed to working together to accept the fact that this horror happened in their city, that has to be accepted. We can't ignore it. But then to figure out how to overcome that, if we can do that and support the various different members of the Lod community, that is going to make a difference.
And on another level of that, Israel has a new government, and if people think the United States government is messy, they should take a look at, which I'm not sure I even understand yet, but this new coalition government, the most diverse Arabs are part of the party and parcel of this government, Israelis of liberal, moderate, and conservative stripe. And you met with the new president-elect and some members of that. How did that go?
We did. What we hear from the Israeli leaders is that there is great hope because of the diversity. I mean, Israel's 73 years old, and for the first time in 73 years old, there is an Islamic party in the leading coalition. There's more women than ever. There's members of the right, members of the left. Even someone who's hard of hearing was just sworn in using sign language. So there is tremendous potential. I think as we see in our own country, there are the naysayers, but there's a lot of people who have hope that this government might just hold the key to slowly bringing about more harmony and promoting the stories that my colleagues and I got to see on the ground.
Yeah. Rabbi, as you well know, we in the news media, we concentrate on things when they don't go the way you hope they should, and when there is violence, clashes, confrontations. So that is what we all in this country have seen over the last 6 weeks or so. But what I'm getting from you is that there is a sense of hope and optimism that you saw there during your 3 days, your intense 3 days in Israel.
We went there with the hope. We have, each of the rabbis have a love for Israel, and we went there to share our love with Israelis because we felt such a disconnect during this difficult time. I did not return home expecting to have felt the love that I felt there. And yes, that was incredibly uplifting. I don't want to belittle the fact that there are serious problems. There's serious trauma in the country. There's still violence in the country, but the love that we experienced there lifted my heart, and I am returning committed to promoting that narrative that Israelis of all different backgrounds and religious backgrounds, they do care about each other, and we need to talk about that and support it.
Well, Rabbi Jacobs, I think that you have our commitment to talk about whatever is good as well as bad, and we certainly thank you and everyone else for sharing those stories
But we
with
thank
us.
you for highlighting our journey. It means a lot to all of us.
Thank you so much.